Before the weekly analysis begins, I just want to let you know that I do have a Patreon page. We have two tiers available. The first tier is called Start Off for £15 a month, and what you will receive is access to a Discord server containing the beginners, intermediate, and advanced course, risk management course for Elliot Wave trading, as well as financial literacy content. This tier is also for those who want to learn at their own pace and generally just support what I do and just join a community of like-minded traders. The second tier that I have is called the Waveologist for £35 a month, and what you receive is everything that I mentioned above with the addition of specific chart requests for me to annotate on a daily and weekly time frame, and one-to-one support or group sessions depending on how many people have subscribed to this tier. The group or one-to-one sessions are for those people who want a little bit of extra help with their Elliot Wave education and also give the opportunity to ask me as many questions. Please do keep in mind that these are going to be 1 hour sessions depending on how many people have subscribed, and also I would say please do consider joining. It is really good value for money, and without further ado, let's get into the analysis. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, guys. This is going to be my Elliot Wave Count forecast for the week ahead. But any views, any opinions, or suggestions that are expressed in this video do not constitute to trading or financial advice. So let's get started here on pound dollar. So pound dollar, I said in my last previous video, we started to go down towards the downside. We eventually come towards these lows, and we eventually come in there. So we are sort of moving in the right path now. For me, I did see there was an entry here, but I didn't necessarily take it. This sort of corrective structure right here, and then we could have gone for a nice sell. But nevertheless, it is what it is. That's just how it is. But what's to come? What are we expecting for the sort of week to come in terms of the long term and the sort of short term projection of things? So in my previous videos, I did mention that we are currently in this sort of WXY corrective structure, and when we use our sort of trend fib based tools here, so from here to there, we can see that from this level hit the 618% of it, and we started to come correcting towards the downside. And now with that being said, this will be considered as a wave W, or you can say an A, B, C towards the upside. But nevertheless, where we are currently, so we are currently in this X wave in my opinion towards the sort of downside, and then we could possibly see one more move towards the upside eventually coming in. So in terms of the short term sort of projection of things, we are getting some sort of flat coming in here. We have a B, C, A, B, and then 5 waves here, so 1, 2, 3. We're gonna get maybe one more sort of incline to the upside to give us that wave 4, and then we sort of push down again towards this level, taking out these lows, and to give us our 5th wave towards the downside, and that will eventually complete. Or what we could see happen is essentially the 3rd wave completing below this level right here, taking out these lows, and then we get that sort of 4th wave coming in, then one more push down, and then we go to the upside. So there's two scenarios, but nevertheless they both give the same result, and that's obviously the short term sort of insight of things. Additionally, in terms of the long term, I will say that I am quite bullish, especially this being a sort of 3-wave corrective move towards the downside. We probably get one more push to the upside before we then start to see the market sort of give us some sort of movement back towards the downside. But nevertheless, just be a bit careful. We are approaching these lows to eventually come and hit. We could also get some sort of move like that and then come back down again, which will basically give us a nice, you can say, head and shoulder pattern right here. And if that's the case, I've already got a scenario lined up for that, but nevertheless I won't be showing you that. But yeah, that's just one of the sort of you can see one of the scenarios that I have in mind, where we're going to see some sort of movement coming in, then down, and we could see some movement coming back up towards the upside. Depending on how this moves, if we do see a nice clean break and a closure below that level, and that's considered as a market structure break, then what we could expect is simply a move towards the upside. To eventually bring this market back down even more. But nevertheless, that's pound dollar. Let's go into gold. So gold here has been moving nicely. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here into wave 1. To me, this can be considered as an A, B, C right here, which is perfectly fine. And what we are seeing is essentially the market eventually push towards the downside a little bit more. So we have this sort of this trend line here, which basically broke towards sort of last week or 2 weeks ago. We have a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, then a wave 5, and we're now coming up for that A, B, C. So A has been completed. We're coming back down again. One more push up to a C, and then we eventually probably shoot towards the downside, something like that essentially. And this is going to continue going towards the downside. I did say that we'll come towards these lows as well, so that's where you can see one of the sort of long-term sort of target is. But anyway, gold after that ABC sort of corrects and finishes, we're gonna head towards the downside. But yeah, let's go on to pound yen. So here we are, pound yen. So pound yen has been moving a bit weird, I would say. But nevertheless, I've got on this scenario as well. I did say that, I did mention that we are going to eventually continue towards these downside, and we possibly can. But at the same time, we are in this sort of move right here. So we have a wave one, wave two. Then we have a one, two, then a one, two, three, four, five, which gives us a wave three, and we're currently in this sort of wave four to give us a one, two, three, four, and then five, and that'll complete the wave three. And then we'll expect that sort of bigger movement to the downside for that wave four, and then one more push up for the wave 5, and then have that huge sell. So that's another possible scenario. I would say just keep an eye out, so get usual Fibonacci retracements, and look for that sort of 38% level around about there, in and around these levels, or we could go to the 23.6% level and then shoot up as well, which is perfectly fine. But nevertheless, I am expecting possibly a move towards the downside here before we then continue pushing up for that sort of fifth and final leg of this bigger wave 3 structure. Um, but in terms of the smaller time frame, and what we have here is simply an ABC. So we have a nice 1 2 3 4 5 ABC, and then we have a 1 2 3 4 5, and that could basically be a wave 4 completed, and we could essentially see this market push towards upside, which is perfectly fine. Or if that's the case, we could possibly be in a ABC, which could be a W, and then we get three waves towards upside into an X, and then we shoot down again into a Y, and then wait for complete somewhere down here. And if that's the case, then we might get some sort of bigger corrective structure coming in around here. And yeah, I mean, overall we are still in that wave 4. I would say just be a bit careful. Don't look to take any trades towards the upside until I probably will say this sort of wave 4 market structure level has been broken. So wait for that sort of break to happen first, wait for that sort of correction, and then look to take it towards the upside. But at the same time, we are in that wave 4. It is risky. Don't trade this pair until you get that right confirmation. Um, but yeah, hope you guys like my analysis. Please do like, comment, share, and subscribe. I do have a Patreon for all those people that are interested in mentorship. You guys will have access to my private Discord. And yeah, look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.